Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well. This morning, we are joined by Safeguarding Coordinator Michelle Coleman, and she's going to sit with me and have some safeguarding conversations. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle. We're just going to get straight into it this morning, so please can I have the next slide? So, Michelle, do you want to go through the outcomes?
Will do. Thank you so much, Sarah. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. So we're just going to look at some key points around safeguarding this morning. So we're going to touch on process and procedure and around why that's important, identifying safeguarding concerns versus behaviour, and also how we work collaboratively with a child-centred approach.
Fabulous. Thank you. So here's the TLA framework. As you know, all roads lead back to it. And today it focuses on real attitudes and behaviours, and that element of kind of keeping our young people and our adults safe in the wider college and in our teaching spaces. Just can we move the slides on, please, Michelle? Thank you. Fantastic. And to the next one. Perfect. So why are we doing this morning? Well, as you already know, I'm sure, so I won't take too much time saying it. We're going to offer you just a quick 15-minute session. We promise to run to time. We hope to give you a high quality session and something that you can take away with you. So, and also what I will say this morning is, guys, you tend to leave your questions to the end, which is great, or your comments, but if you have any questions throughout, please do pop them in the chat and I'll try to keep my eye throughout and I can ask Michelle any questions as we go. All right, Michelle, over to you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Sarah. So just a refresher, really, over our process and procedure for safeguarding here at BDC. So I just wanted to point you to Staff Info Point. So we've just redesigned our safeguarding tab on Staff Info Point, and there's some really fabulous resources on here. So I do recommend, please, if you do get 10 minutes in your day, please do click on the safeguarding tab and have a little look through. As you can see there, we've got all the headers there, how to report a concern, our safeguarding rota, our officers, and information, advice and guidance, policies, it's all there. So obviously when we're reporting a concern as well, that information is there, and our safeguarding rota. So that's our lovely safeguarding officers that we have, and that is who is there to support you if you had a disclosure from a learner. And then just kind of around process, this is kind of a nice structured way to kind of think about it. So a learner may have come to us, and absolutely that's real credit to you that that learner has obviously felt very safe and secure to share something quite personal with yourself. And it's about really kind of following this structure here and just be mindful. It's really, really important that we do use our professional curiosity, and that's absolutely okay. Maybe sometimes it can feel a little bit that we're asking a lot of questions, but that's really, really crucial, right? To obtaining the facts, the correct information from the learner. They might present maybe quite closed, for example, at first. So really important that we're using those active listening skills and using our professional curiosity. Again, we might find that it's going to take some reassurance here as well. The learner's going to maybe have some fears around what they're sharing and maybe be fearful around the outcomes from that. So it's really super duper important, obviously, that we can just reassure our learner that they are safe, they are in a safe space to talk. And then obviously there, like it shows about recording, so I will touch on that in a moment, but just our safeguarding system, CPOMS, is where we record our safeguarding concerns.
Okie dokie. So can you refresh us all, Michelle? Thank you for that. And I believe the info point is all quite new and updated, so it looks great. But can you just take a moment to talk us through why following the safeguarding process and procedure is important, and we don't maybe just respond on like gut instinct or panic? So just talk us through.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you for how you said that as well. That can happen to all of us, right? In terms of maybe we've heard a disclosure and maybe it does feel quite intense and it could feel quite a panic in the moment. So I'm here to reassure you that our team is here to support you in this moment, and we try and keep our process and procedure as simple as we possibly can. As you can see here, just the 3 steps. So like I just spoke about, our learners felt comfortable to disclose. So that is step 1. We're listening carefully, we're getting the information. Step 2, so that's speaking to the safeguarding officer who's on duty. So for example, a learner discloses this morning, we're going to double check the rota, see who's on for Wednesday morning, and that is the person to contact. Your safeguarding officer is going to work with you in a supportive way, okay? So step 2 is where you can have the discussion and really agree next steps and outcomes. It's really, really important that obviously any support that's put in place, that is kind of recorded and everyone's aware what the next steps are. And then as you can see, number 3 is just that recording. So that is on CPOMs there, where we're going to record everything that's happened at that point. So we're going to have a little look at some scenarios here. So is it safeguarding? I wonder. So let's delve straight in and have a little look at what we have here. Okay, so a student approaches you to tell you that one of their peers in the same class have been sending them messages. The messages were negative comments about their appearance. The student says the messages happen during class and they show you the messages and the times they were sent. One of the messages reads, "You're so ugly, you might as well kill yourself." There's lots of dynamics here going on. I wonder that anyone who's on this morning could find this quite relatable in terms of maybe behaviour in the classroom. And there is that piece, isn't there, around, just generally managing the behaviour in the classroom. We would want to have a look at sort of the age of learners involved. So obviously our duty of care around our under 18s who are children. It's really, really important that they are safeguarded. So obviously it's the piece around the content of the messages here, and it's exploring that. So there's a real kind of mix here, isn't there? And I know for myself, it's really lovely to work collaboratively, which I have with a lot of curriculum teams in the past, where actually we've got the behaviour aspect and the safeguarding aspect. So actually I can work with the learners, but actually we can follow behaviour process here also. So I'm just going to have a little look at the next one. Okay, so we have a transgender female learner has been using the female toilets. Other female learners have started to complain to staff, saying it makes them feel uncomfortable. Sarah, what's your thoughts on this one?
Oh, Michelle, I knew you were going to give me a difficult one. So I think there's kind of 2 things kind of going on here, isn't there? So I think there's 2 quite valid points of view. So we have a transgender female that maybe doesn't feel comfortable using a male space, and maybe then we need to find out if they have an appropriate space. But also we do need to safeguard the female learners in this, because I think it's about finding out if it's just that they feel uncomfortable having a transgender female in their toilets, and maybe there needs to be some education around that, but actually to find out if there's a valid reason for them to feel unsafe in that. So yeah, it's not cut and dry, but I think it's about, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Michelle, like finding out how comfortable both parties feel in there and trying to give both parties reassurance. And I guess that can come from you as a vocational lecturer and a teacher. You can give that reassurance, and if you're not sure, I guess you can check in with the safeguarding officers. But please, yeah, give me your thoughts on this.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. That's brilliant. I think what I really love about that with this scenario here is this understanding of all learners, different perceptions and maybe viewpoints of what's happening here, and really making sure that equally all those learners are supported to the different needs that are presenting. Again, this is absolutely, an opportunity for that collaboration, isn't it, with the safeguarding team and curriculum areas. And again, I think what I would just highlight with this one is, I think for us always it's about that learning piece, isn't it? So actually these scenarios are really helpful for us at BDC to actually, have that learning piece, but actually question, well, what are we offering the right support for our learners? Is there anything that we're missing here? So thank you for that. So let's move on to number 3. So you notice a student you see regularly has marks on their arms, which appears that they are intentionally trying to cover up. Other students have now also noticed and are openly talking about it to their peers. So this one's really interesting, and this is where our observation, in the classrooms, in the corridors, wherever we may be on campus, it's so important, that observation piece, isn't it? Because actually we could notice something that could be explored further, and there's a real opportunity to put support in place. I think a concern for myself here would be around impact on other learners. So I think often we kind of think about maybe the learner solely who we feel is maybe at risk, but actually it's super duper important, isn't it, just to consider that impact, especially in the classroom setting, like we can see here. Other learners are openly talking about this with their peers, so this is all a distraction, right, in the classroom. But yeah, really important that we just acknowledge impact to other learners in that setting, and how we're also putting support in place for those. Any thoughts on that, Sarah?
I was muted. I knew I was going to do it at some point. Yeah, I think sometimes I've had this with a young learner many, many years ago, and eventually they made the cuts nails very apparent to me in lesson. So it was very obvious that it was like I felt like they wanted me to notice, they wanted me to get them the help and the support. But it's, I guess, having a conversation maybe with those other learners in the class about being kind to someone, about not gossiping. We've done together, we've done lots of work around gossiping and how rumours spread, and it's about, about maybe kind of educating young people about, mental health. And if you see that, to give and allow our students, I guess our young people particularly, I guess, let them know where they can refer, or like they can speak to a safeguarding officer themselves or their SAM or whoever, rather than just gossiping about it, I guess.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, thank you for mentioning our SAMs as well. So our support and achievement mentors are a great support to all our learners. And yeah, mental health, obviously, I'm sure all of us here have had some experience with our learners. It is coming through. So it's just looking at, like Sarah mentioned there, how we're signposting and referring. We've got our lovely counselling team here at BDC. So very lucky to have those guys. So it's just that thought that we're very confident and comfortable in some of these areas in terms of where we signpost and how we refer. So moving on quickly, I just want to cover something that everybody would have read, but it's our focus on having a child-centred approach. I will say I do tend to do it myself often, that I might refer to our learners as young people or young adults, but obviously anyone under 18 is a child. So it's just that reminder of how we're having that child-centred approach. So in the document, you would have reminders to read this, keeping children safe in education. This is on SmartLog. Please do go back and have a look for a refresher. But as it says here, safeguarding and prompting the welfare of children is everyone's responsibility. So children includes everyone under the age of 18, everyone who comes into contact with children, and their families has a role to play in order to fulfill this responsibility effectively. All practitioners should make sure their approach is child-centred. So ultimately means they should consider at all times the best interest of the child. So that is all of our aims here. But again, it's about that working together piece, isn't it? Okay, so that's pretty much it from me. As you can see on the screen, here's just some contact details. So please do take these down if you need to contact our safeguarding team.